Hello. So, I'm going to do something a bit unique. I am going to name all of the country currencies and their subdividing units. Now, I've known all the currencies for a very long time. Back when Quiz Up was around, I did the name the currency topic a lot. But for a while, I've wanted to delve deeper into my love of currencies and actually learn the subdividing units as well. Now, there wasn't a quiz that existed that named the currencies and the subdividing units, so I decided to make this quiz myself. So, uh, one other person played this quiz. They got 1%. I think they thought that this quiz was way too hard, and they decided to give up. And I don't blame them because this is a very hard quiz. Now, most of them are generic, like dollar cents, peso centavos, euro cents, etc. But there are some interesting ones in there as well. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, United States, dollar and cents. So, this is basically how it goes. Type in the currency, comma, subdividing unit. So, Canada, dollar cents. United Kingdom uses the pound sterling, divided into pence. Mexico uses the peso, divided into centavos. Belize is dollar cents. Guatemala uses the quetzal, divided into centavos. Honduras uses the lempira, divided into centavos. El Salvador uses the dollar and cents. Used to use the US dollar, now it uses its own version of the dollar. Nicaragua uses the Cordoba, divided into centavos. Costa Rica uses the colon, divided into centavos. Panama uses the Balboa, divided into centesimos. Bahamas is dollar and cents. Cuba is peso and centavos. Jamaica is dollar and cents. Dominican Republic, peso and centavos. Haiti uses the gourd, Gourde, and that is divided into centimes. Antigua and Barbuda, dollar cents. St. Kitts and Nevis, dollar cents. A lot of the Caribbean island countries use the what's called the East Caribbean dollar, which have Elizabeth II as the face of it, which looks more like a pound sterling. So let's get dollar cents. Barbados, ironically, the most east of the Caribbean island nations, but actually uses its own version of the dollar. Very ironic. Dollar cents, dollar cents. Dollar cents, dollar cents. Colombia uses the peso, divided into centavos. Venezuela uses the bolivar, divided into centimos. Guyana uses the dollar cents. Suriname, dollar cents. Ecuador uses the US dollar, and that is divided into cents. Brazil uses the real, REAL, divided into centavos. Peru uses the Nuevo Sol, divided into centavos. Bolivia uses the Boliviano, divided into centavos. Paraguay uses the Guarani, also an official language of Paraguay, and that is divided into centimos. Uruguay uses the peso, and that is divided into centesimos. Argentina is peso centavos. And Chile, also peso and centavos. Now we're in Europe. Iceland is the krona, subdividing unit is the or. Ireland, euro cents. Portugal, euro cents. Spain, euro cents. Andorra, euro cents. France, euro cents. Monaco, euro cents. Belgium, euro cents. Luxembourg, euro cents. Netherlands, euro cents. Germany, euro cents. Switzerland uses the franc, and it is divided into centimes. Liechtenstein also uses the Swiss franc and is divided into centimes. Austria, euro franc. You idiot. Euro cents. I mean, I'm going so quickly, it's kind of messing with my brain a bit. Italy, euro cents. San Marino, euro cents. Euro cents, Malta, euro cents. A bunch of those countries used to use the lira. Slovenia, euro cents, used to use the taler. Croatia, euro cents. Prior to 2023, it used the kuna, which means pine marten, and was divided into lipas. Czechia is the koruna and is divided into halers. Slovakia is euro cents, used to use the koruna divided into halers, which is very similar to that. Poland is the zloty divided into groszy. Hungary, forint divided into filler. Bosnia-Herzegovina uses the marka and it's divided into pfennig. Serbia uses the dinar divided into Paris. Montenegro, euro cents. Kosovo, euro cents. North Macedonia uses the dinar and it's divided into the deni. Pretty simple dividing unit here. Greece, euro cents. Cyprus, euro cents. Turkey uses the lira and it's divided into kuruş. Bulgaria uses the lev and it's divided into stotinki. Romania uses the liu and it's divided into bani. Moldova is the same, liu bani. Belarus is the same as Russia. It uses the ruble and is divided into kopecks. Norway is the krone divided into or. Sweden, krona divided into or. Denmark, krone divided into or. Finland, euro cents. Estonia, euro cents. Latvia, euro cents. Lithuania, the second most recent country to adopt the euro, adopted it in 2015, and before that it was the litas. Russia is ruble and kopecks. Albania uses the lek and it is divided into kintars. Ukraine uses the hryvnia, divided into kopeka. So Egypt uses the pounds, but it is divided into piasters. Libya uses the dinar, divided into dirhams, which is also the main units of currency of Morocco and United Arab Emirates, so we will get to them when we get to them. Tunisia also uses the dinar, but it is divided into malims. Algeria uses the dinar and divided into centimes. Morocco uses the dirham, divided into centimes. Sudan is in South Sudan the same as Egypt. Pounds divided into piasters. Mauritania uses the ugia and divided into 5 kums. Mauritanian ugia is one of the 2 currencies that is not decimalized, the other being the Malagasy Ariari, but we will get to that when we get to that. Mali is franc and centimes. Now, a lot of the Central African countries use what's called the CFA franc. So, we got Niger is franc and centimes. Chad, franc and centimes. Senegal, franc and centimes. Gambia uses the dalasi, and that is divided into batouts. Cabo Verde is the escudo, divided into centavos. Guinea does not use the CFA franc, but uses its own version of franc. That is, and we'll get franc centimes. Sierra Leone uses the leone, and that is divided into cents. Liberia is dollar and cents. Cote d'Ivoire, franc and centimes. Burkina Faso, franc and centimes. Ghana uses the cedi, and that is divided into pesewas. Togo, franc and centimes. Benin, franc and centimes. Nigeria uses the naira, and that is divided into kobo. Cameroon, franc and centimes. Equatorial Guinea, franc and centimes. Central African Republic, franc and centimes. Ethiopia uses the birr, and it's divided into cents. Eritrea uses the nafka, divided into cents. Djibouti, franc and centimes. Republic of the Congo, franc and centimes. Democratic Republic of the Congo, franc and centimes. Gabon, franc and centimes. Sao Tome and Principe uses the dobra, divided into centimos. Somalia, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania all use the shilling and divided into cents. So Uganda shilling, cent. Kenya, shilling, cent. And Tanzania, shilling, cent. Rwanda, franc and centimes. Burundi, franc and centimes. Angola uses the kwanza and is divided into lei. Namibia is dollar and cents. So now Zambia and Malawi both have the main units of currency as the kwacha. However, the subdividing units are different, so the Zambian kwacha is divided into ngwe, and the Malawian kwacha is divided into tambala. Mozambique uses the metical, and is divided into centavos. Zimbabwe is dollar and cents. Some of you may be familiar with the $100 trillion banknote. Botswana is the pula, not to be confused with the city in Croatia. And it is divided into Thebe or Thebe, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Eswatini is the Lilin Guinea, which is a fun currency name. However, the subdividing unit is not as fun. It's divided into cents. Lesotho is the Loti, named after the Maluti Mountains, and the subdividing unit is the centi. South Africa uses the rand, divided into cents. Madagascar uses the ariary, divided into 5 rhyme belanjas. The Malagasy ariary, the other currency that is not decimalized. Mauritanian ugia is the other one. Seychelles is rupee divided into cents. Mauritius is the same, rupee and cents. And Comoros is franc and centimes. Now we're in Asia. Azerbaijan is the manat, and subdividing unit is the gopiks. Armenia is the dram, divided into lumas. Georgia uses the lari, divided into tetri. Lebanon and Syria are the same as Egypt, Sudan, and South Sudan. They use the pound, divided into piastres. And then Israel is the shekel, or the new shekel, divided into agarot. Now, a lot of the Middle Eastern countries are divided into fiels, as you can see. So, Jordan is dinar, divided into fiels. Saudi Arabia is rial, spelled R-I-Y-A-L, divided into dirhams, which is also the subdividing unit of the Libyan dinar, and also the main units of currency of Morocco and United Arab Emirates. Yemen and Oman are both rial, R-I-A-L, divided into fiels, also the same as Iran. United Arab Emirates is the dirham, divided into fiels. Qatar is also rial, spelled R-I-Y-A-L, divided into fiels. Bahrain, Kuwait, and Iraq are all dinar, divided into fiels. And Iran, same as Oman, Yemen, rial, R-I-A-L, and fiels. Turkmenistan is the same as Azerbaijan, uses the manat, divided into gopiks. Uzbekistan is the sum, S-U-M, and that is divided into tien. Tajikistan is the simoni, and that is divided into dirham. Kyrgyzstan is the som, S-O-M, that is divided into tien. Kazakhstan uses the tenj, and that is divided into tien. Now, it's the same dividing unit, slightly different spellings, different dialects. Afghanistan uses the Afghani, and it's divided into pools. Pakistan and India both use the rupee, divided into paisi. Nepal uses the rupee, divided into paisa. Sri Lanka also uses the rupee, however, their rupee is divided into cents. Maldives uses the rufiya, and that is divided into lari with 2 A's, not to be confused with the main units of currency of Georgia. Bangladesh is taka, divided into paisa. China is the yuan or renminbi, and that is divided into fin. Myanmar is the kyat, divided into rupiah. Thailand is the baht, and that is divided into satang. Laos is the kip, divided into cents. Cambodia is riel, spelled R-I-E-L, divided into sen. Vietnam is the dong divided into zoo. Mongolia is the tugrik or togrog, and that is divided into mongos, another simple subdividing currency. North Korea and South Korea both use the won as the currency, and subdividing it as the chon. They don't use the exact same won, but they have their own versions of the won. Taiwan is dollar and cents. Philippines, peso and centavos. Malaysia uses the ringgit and divided into sen. Japan uses the yen and divided into sen. Singapore dollar cent. Indonesia uses rupiah, R-U-P-I-A-H, divided into sen. East Timor is the dollar and cents. I believe it also uses the US dollar. Bhutan is the ngultrum and divided into shatrum. Brunei is dollar, however, their dollar is divided to sen, the only dollar currency that is not divided into cents. So, Australia dollar cents, New Zealand dollar cents. Papua New Guinea uses the kina and is divided into toas. Vanuatu uses the vatu and is divided into centimes. Solomon Islands is dollar cents. Marshall Islands uses the US dollar, divided into cents. Tuvalu dollar cents. Nauru and Kiribati use the Australian dollar, divided into cents. Fiji dollar cents. Palau dollar cents. Micronesia dollar cents. Tonga uses the panga, divided into seniti, and Samoa uses the tala, divided into sene. And that is all of the currencies and their subdividing units. If you want to give this a try, go ahead. It's a lot of fun, but I must warn you, it is a top-notch quiz. But anyway, that's it.